Yo, what is going on, you guys? Bashtianygo here, and today, guys, we are going to be talking about a very fun topic, of which is going to be the top 5 best Yu-Gi-Oh decks that you guys can go ahead and build for less than $50 budget for you guys for the main deck and any type of additional cards you may need for the deck. 50 bucks is going to be all you need. Rarity Collection 2 just dropped, we got Rarity Collection 1 just dropped, I believe towards the end of last year as well. So we got all the main staples, essentially majority of them that have been reprinted for you guys, extremely accessible, so we can focus on making sure we're getting the cores of these decks at extremely budget price as well. And these are still going to be some of the best decks you can go ahead and build, again, for under $50. Now, when thinking of this list, guys, I wanted to make sure I gave you guys plenty of room to go ahead and grow these decks. These decks can definitely go ahead and be expanded on in the event you guys want to go ahead and invest, in the event you guys want to go ahead and test out the deck before you invest, or just go ahead and grow, increase your collection as well. These are going to be the best ways to go ahead and do that, while also simultaneously learning and getting better at the game step by step. But we all gotta start somewhere, guys, so let's go ahead and get right into it. But before we do, make sure you guys hit like, subscribe. Coming in at number 5, guys, I have Runick. I actually have it right here on the screen. Let me go ahead and pull it up for you guys. Runick was one of the best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! And not that long ago, actually. It's very recent, where it was probably one of the best decks. The thing that hit it was really just Snake Eye getting released. Snake Eye getting released made the Wanted engine just really go that route a lot more aggressively. Of course, the Popular coming out, making Snake Eye just a lot more of a pure viable deck. Before that, guys, it was definitely Runick. People definitely scared of the Turbulence, scared of the Hydrant as well. I know I definitely was. And now the deck is extremely budget friendly. You can pick up the entire deck for just a few bucks here and there. Even the Hydrants, which used to be like 30, 40, 50 bucks a pop, now you can get them for like $1.20. The deck is extremely budget friendly. It's extremely easy to go ahead and learn. Pretty linear in its playstyle, nothing too crazy, at least for the pure variant of the deck, which is most likely the one you were going for in the event you guys want to go ahead and follow the budget tier list guidelines. But this is essentially what you're going to be looking at as far as picking up the deck. Like I said, a few dollars here and there. Now, what's cool about Runick is, of course, it all revolves really around Hydrant and Turbulence, really turboing themselves out to being able to go ahead and protect Hydrant, because if you protect Hydrant when you summon out Turbulence is actually going to go ahead and get the effect to set 4 Rescue spells traps directly from your deck, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous, because the things you guys are going to be able to go ahead and set with this is actually really good. A lot of good ways to interact against your opponent, some battle phase effects as well, negations. It has a lot of interactions, and especially if you're going to be going first with this deck, you're going to be having a fantastic time. And then if you want to go ahead and invest a little bit of dough here and there, I'd probably invest in like some going second cards, or just a lot of hand traps as well, which this deck has, again, a lot of really good space to go ahead and make sure you're able to do that as well. Next on this list, guys, I want to go for a more of a fun one, which is going to be Dinomorphia. Dinomorphia is a really interesting deck where it really works at lowering your own life points in order to gain better and better effects. So essentially, with the big boss monster of this deck is going to be Dinomorphia Rextrum. It's going to be a trap deck, so you're going to be setting quite a bit here, so be aware of the Harpy's Feather Duster and the Lightning Storms, of course. But Dinomorphia Rextrum is a phenomenal card to go ahead and have out. Basically a walking skill drain for you guys who don't know. Your opponent can activate the effects of monsters they control that have attack greater than or equal to your life points. So it means is the less life points you have, the more effective this deck is, and all this deck does is just half your life points constantly, to the point where you get some really wonky numbers. You might even get the good old, of course, 60, 50, 25 life points as well. It's gonna be actually crazy. It's gonna be a really fun time for everybody, and unless they're your opponent, of course, right? So it's a really cool deck, something you can have to go ahead and bling out if you definitely want to, but essentially, in order to make sure that you're able to get all the proper pieces together to work, you're really not going to be that expensive as well, guys. So you can get some backjacks. The overall deck can work very well with just a whole bunch of really high utility trap cards as well. So you really don't need to get too crazy. Maybe some super polys if you want, but again, I just think it's going to be a great way to go ahead. It's a good gateway deck, if you will. Nothing too crazy, a kind of linear line of play, but honestly it's really effective, and any walking floodgate, any deck that has a walking floodgate is bound to do a lot of damage. Number 3 on our list, we had to go ahead and touch on this because you have to, right? Flu is still one of the best budget decks you can definitely go ahead and have out there. I know people are tired of Flus. It's not the most exciting deck to go ahead and play, but it teaches you chain links, which is really good, especially for a new player coming in, which I think is fantastic. It teaches you chain blocking, which is going to be really key as well as you get into the more complex routes of the game, which I think is really good. Just being able to go ahead and make sure that you always have a Floowandereeze that's banished. You can go ahead and chain off your normal summons so that way you can't get ashed, which I think is really crucial point of interaction. It's going to be really key as well. Now, this deck does lose to things like Drone Lockbird, Effect Veiler, which are some of the more popular hand traps in this current format, so something you definitely want to go ahead and look out for. But the deck is extremely accessible, extremely budget friendly, and it's still a pain in the ass to go ahead and play against. No matter what level of duelist you are, Flu is always going to be one of those decks that you never want to go ahead and sit across just because of what it can do. Of course, being able to go ahead and play a card like Dimension Shifter, which I believe is the only was the first deck on this list that can play it, and I believe the only one if I'm not mistaken, you can definitely go ahead and make sure you're able to maximize your win rate by not only playing a stun based deck, which really is what it is, a stun combo based deck, if you will, right? But you can also have the benefit of playing cards like D-Shifter and have a lot of consistency cards as well, cards like Pot of Duality, cards like whatever you want essentially to go ahead and make sure you're able to dig deep. Pot of Prosperity, some people play the one Pot of Extravagance as well on top of that. I think that's a bit too much, but that's just me personally saying. So I think it's going to be a great strategy to go ahead and pick up, at least on a budget, and definitely you can go ahead and build on this. Not necessarily as much on the extra deck, because the extra deck is not really all that important since you're not ever going to go into it. So again, there's more things you can go ahead and put into your main deck to help make this deck even better. At number 2, guys, I have Marincess, probably the first big combo deck on our list, and I think the only one we have on our list is a big combo deck. So I really do enjoy the Marincess playstyle. Of course, they just keep link climbing until you get to your huge boss monster. You equip it with 3 Marincess monsters, and then you pretty much just sit unprotected, and then you're good to go from there. The deck has a lot of resilience. The deck is just full of extenders, starters, and combo pieces, which I absolutely love. It's a lot of fun to go ahead and play. I think the cards play really well into each other. I believe some of them may lock you in as far as the combo is concerned to like water or cybers. No, I think it's just water. So it's not something that you're really too concerned about. All you really need in addition to the Marincess cards for your extra deck is going to be Bahamut Shark and a Totally Awesome, maybe 2 Totally Awesomes if you want, but again, that's extremely budget friendly card. And what I love about Marincess as well is that it's all really 1 card starters as well. So as long as you have to go into a link 1 and climb up from there, again, the entire deck is just a whole bunch of extenders, guys. So you have a lot of space to fill it with some phenomenal hand traps as well. Nibiru, Ash Blossom, Infinite Impermanence, Effect Veiler, Ghost Mourner, Ghost Bell, Ghost Ogre. You have a lot of space to go ahead and fill this with as much non-engine as you want, which I think definitely merits putting this very high on this list. Even as a non-budget option, if you guys want to go ahead again invest further into this deck, I think it's a phenomenal deck to go ahead and learn. It's a great deck to go ahead and teach you guys about link summoning as well. In the event you guys are new to that, I just think honestly Marincess deserves a lot of love. It's going to be getting some new support here in the near future as well through the Trickstar Noble Ink. No, it's not Noble Jumper. The Trickstar Marincess card that's always treated as a Marincess. I think that's a phenomenal card as well. Which you guys can go ahead and put into this deck just to make it that much better also. And then of course, without a doubt, the number 1 best budget deck there is out there is anything Runick related, which realistically just means Runick Stun, which is one of the most highly competitive decks, unfortunately, out there in the current game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Now, I'm not gonna drag on this deck that much more, right? I think we all pretty much understand what it means to go up against Runick Stun, which pretty much means you're not gonna be doing anything if your opponent opens Skill Drain, Synchro Zone, and Rivalry, or some combination into Runicks, right? So when it comes to this deck, it's something that Runicks as a whole in general I think is a phenomenal strategy, right? Being able to go ahead and mix this in a combo way. I love the way that Joshua Schmidt's able to go ahead and talk about this deck. If you guys are interested in Runicks, I would highly recommend watching his content if you haven't already. He plays a lot of Runick combo decks, Runick Earthbound, which is I believe was most recent creation as well, which is really cool deck. It seemed like a lot of fun to go ahead and play. Did not work out for me, again, a little bit too big brain for your boy. But if you guys want to go ahead and play a really strong deck that does not require too much thinking. Still requires some strategy, of course, but not require too much thinking. You're not going to be overwhelmed with the amount of combos and things you're going to be doing, and has a very high ceiling for a very low budget, which really is the way it is. Runick Stun's definitely going to be their best friend. Amano Iwata is a common. I mean, Skill Drain just got reprinted in Ready Collection if it wasn't already extremely accessible enough. Inspector Border got reprinted, so they're pretty much reprinting everything you need for this deck. The only thing that hasn't been reprinted, I think, is Synchro Zone. That's a brand new card-ish. I think it's like maybe $5-6 if I'm not mistaken. So that's really all you need as far as the additional cards go, and then just a few consistency pieces as well. You know, Card of Demise, Part Duality, Part Desires as well, and that's pretty much it. So honestly, when it comes to budget decks, it does not get better than this, guys. So that's gonna be it for the list. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Is there a budget deck that you can build for $50 that I missed? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. It's Trickstar. I know it should have been on here, but maybe it'll make it on the next list, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one.